On this week's episode of the Lokar Car Show, we've traveled to the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, where Pontiacs from all over the country have gathered for this year's Pontiacs in Pigeon Forge. This 1972 GTO underwent a full restoration when Gary Griffin and his brother received the car from their parents.
It's a 400 4-barrel high output with Ram air. It'll move pretty good. We've only got about 100 miles on the new motor, so taking it easy right now, but we drive it practically every weekend. Yes, sir, or just take the family out and ride around. We do a lot of car shows. This is our 5th year in Pigeon Forge. We just drove it down this morning from Mars Hill, North Carolina. It drives great. It's like a new car. Right now, we really like it the way it is. We've enjoyed the restoration, but now it's time to drive it a while.
Fixing up cars became quality time for the whole family when James and Lisa Carlton worked their magic on their 1969 Firebird.
It's actually ours, but it was kind of my choice. I picked it out. My first car was a 70 Le Mans Sport, and I've been a Pontiac fan ever since. And we found this, and it wasn't show quality, so we've got to spend a lot of quality time together getting it that way, including her dad's been a really big help, getting it looking the way it is and running the way it is.
Yeah, when we got to the point that we were going to take the motor out and do some work on it before we put it in, he actually, we took it out in our backyard, and when we got it ready to put back in, my dad come over and he's like, "How are you going to get that back in?" And he's like, "Well, I was thinking maybe a backhoe or something, you know, and put it in with a backhoe." My dad's like, "No, we're taking it to my garage." So we spent, 3 days in my parents' garage. Yeah. I grew up liking cars. My dad's a big car guy. He has 57 Chevys, and so he helped us, and we put the motor in and got it running good. And
the rest is history. I mean, there it is. Well, I'm saying probably 300, 325 horsepower. I've never had it dynoed. It's pretty original. I've got a few little tweaks done to it, but it's like 99% original.
This owner sold his car to get a wife, but she made it up to him years later when he found the exact same model. Now, Ronnie Missildine and his wife love riding around in their 1963 Catalina.
I used to have a car exactly like this when I met my wife. And when we decided to get married, my dad said, "Can you afford a car and a wife too?" My payments on the car was $62.40 a month. And so I traded it off, got something less. But she let me get this one back, and I put it back exactly like that original car was. And she loves to ride in it with me. We've been married 51 years now, and she's a good woman. I did a lot of the work myself. I pulled it apart and did all the front end work. I did all the brake work and fuel line work and so forth. And a good friend of mine had a body shop. He did the paint and body work. And then I helped a guy rebuild the engine. So I did a lot of it myself, yes. It has the 389 engine with the tri-power carburetors. It has a factory 4-speed. Has a little 400 lift cam in it, makes it lope a little bit. It's a pretty good goer. Rides really good. It's a wide track Pontiac. Rides really well on the road. Most definitely a Pontiac man. I've owned a number of Pontiacs, but the car like this one being my first one, I've always been a Pontiac guy. Have 2 big Pontiac signs on the front of my shop at the house. The HOA wrote me a letter, but they backed off. I kept my signs.
We'll be right back with more amazing cars on the Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group. The Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group, is brought to you by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. Brothers Truck Parts, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GM truck restoration. Original Parts Group, world-class restoration parts. Lokar Performance Products. Quality, plain and simple. Herman Evans sold his Novas to buy this 1935 street rod and business coupe, and he's been building them ever since 1984.
Well, my dad has always taught me to build an original car, and so I built the black one first. I took all the best parts and put it back original, everything except for the interior. The interior carries a broadcloth or a mohair, and I decided I didn't want to do that. And so then in turn, after I got through with that car, my wife asked me what I was going to do with the other, and I said, well, I'm going to junk it. She said, why? You can't build it? And I said, yeah, this won't be original. She said, well, just go ahead and build it. So for the next 6 years after that, I started building this car. And it took me up to this point to get them all like I wanted to. This is the first time I've ever showed both cars at one time. This is a flathead 6-cylinder with a 3-speed standard transmission. And again, it's all the original car. Now this car here has a 350, 348 horsepower fuel injected TPI system with a 700R automatic transmission and all that. This one has electric windows, electric rumble seat, electric rear window, and power antenna, disc brakes on it. And of course this car has what you call the old mechanical brakes and mechanical shocks and stuff like that on it. I love this car show. I'd been trying to get up here for about 5 years. I finally got the invitation last year when I was talking to him up here. I found out where it was going to be at. We came and checked it out, and I told him then I would definitely be here. I've seen some fantastic automobiles here. You've got quite a few right around you that are all original cars that goes back a lot of history to them. It's amazing to me the automobiles that I'm seeing that I grew up with myself, that I had and wish I had back.
It's a great show this year. A lot of newcomers that's never been to the event. We've got a great turnout, over 200 cars this year. Weather's been great. It's just an awesome event. This time of year, it's a crap shot with the weather, but Lord above has blessed us this year with beautiful weather. The quality of the cars this year are far none to what we've seen in the past. It's getting harder and harder just to judge these cars because of the quality and the craftsmanship they put into these cars.
Collector of Trans Ams since '91, Carl Alger brought his 1976 and '79 makes out to enjoy the show with his father.
I just have loved Trans Ams all my life. It's been my passion and my favorite car. My dream car was the '69 Trans Am, and that's kind of where it started. I had an '83 in high school, and then I had sold it and upgraded to a Turbo TA in '89, and then we bought the '69, and it just unfolded from there. Yeah, my dad's my best friend, and that's how we hang out. My collection ranges from 1969 Trans Am to an '02 collector with 11 miles. The black one you're looking at is a '76 50th anniversary. Made 110 with 455 4-speed and T-tops. We found the car in '91 that a banker owned and drove on pretty days. The silver one was bought from the second owner in New York City back in '92. Has 26,000 miles.
It's time for Lokar Lowdown with Kevin Ford.
Hey, last year we talked about some new products that were coming out, and I feel like we teased you. We didn't really get a chance to show you the products because they were installed on our Camaro as prototype parts. Well, we kept our promise and we got these parts ready, and here they are to show you. We started with the Goolsby door pulls. These are a pretty cool part that you can add to the door panel of the inside of your car. They've got interchangeable inserts. One of them can be wrapped. We got the edge insert, it's got a little style to it. And for the guys that aren't as bold, we got a little smooth insert. It comes in, it makes a really nice finish. You can customize them, but from us, they're available polished or brushed. We can move down a little bit. We've got this really cool hood vent. We know they're not for everybody, but man, the response has been huge. More people than we expected are really, really wanting these things. I'll take a second to turn it over and show you. It's kind of a work of art, and all the panels are bolted in, they're adjustable. You can take them out, you can customize them. This part here represents a hood, so you can see that the bottom clamps to the top, and you don't have any seam lines, no buckling or anything like that in your car. So it's gonna be a nice clean finish, easy to do, and get it on your car right away. All you gotta do is cut the hole. And lastly, we've got the exhaust tips. These were probably the hardest thing for you to see on the car, but man, the machining and the workmanship that we put into these things is just gonna take you to the next level. What we have is a billet aluminum front piece, so you can take that off, get it customized if you want them black, polished, chromed. If you need to cut the angle, if this represents the tail of your car, if you need to recut that angle, you know, it's available, you can do that, custom fit it to your car, go back, clean it up, and you're ready to go. On the back side, we've provided mounts. We have a threaded insert in stainless that you can weld to your 3-inch exhaust, or we have a V-band clamp option that you can add to it as well. All of this stuff's available from Lokar, and you can see us at a show if you want to put your hands on it. And to find out where we are, go to lokar.com and pick up a free catalog.
Welcome back to the Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group. Justin LeClaire was searching for a wagon when he came across his 1964 Catalina Safari on eBay.
I've been looking for a wagon for a while and came across a good deal on eBay. For being a Chicago car, it was in pretty good shape. Not a whole lot of rust to repair. It's a pretty solid car. We painted it green. It used to be tan. Put in a Pontiac 400 motor and a Muncie 4-speed. Put in a True Track posi traction rear end, 4-wheel disc brakes, fuel injection, and lowered it on Viking coilovers. I've always wanted a family car to take out to car shows and couldn't think of a better car to do it with.
Well, I built this engine last winter and put in it. It's a 505 block, been bored and stroked, 660 horsepower. I found it in a catalog. I bought it in Michigan 2.5 years ago. It's a pretty rare car. There's 750 built of them is all was built. Well, some of them don't think it's a Pontiac yet. I don't know. I guess they got to get the title out and lay it on the dash or something.
Keith Carter has had this 1965 GTO since '88. He drove it for 10 years before deciding to give it a fresh coat of paint and start taking it to car shows.
I've done everything on the car I've done myself except for a friend of mine painted it. It's original WS 389 tri-power car. We've taken it back to the original dealership, met the original owner. I got original documentation on the car where he had bought it new. I've got a lot of information and literature on the car from where it's been all its life. You know, we drive close shows, but down here it's got 5-sply tires on it, 390 gears. It would be a ride to come from Ohio down here in the thing because the RPMs and then tires follow every crack in the street, you know. So, you know, I'm just about authentic. I didn't want to put radial tires on the car. I wanted it just the way it came out of the factory. It will flat put you back, yeah, with the tires that it's got on it. When you get into it, hit second gear, it'll go completely sideways in the street. So if somebody's coming the other way, you do not want to even think about getting on it because it's a handful. It'll get up and go good. These are some good guys. I met these guys before they ever started this show at the Rod Run. We come to Rod Run every September, and they were saying they were going to have this show. So we came. I've been here every single year for this show. I think I might be the only person that's ever been here every year. And been here every year. Mike and Larry and these guys are some great guys. Sierra, it was all about, you know, trying to raise money to help Sierra out. St. Jude's, and they're just a bunch of great guys. I've offered to help, you know, judge. I told them, you know, to judge my car. I do anything in the world for these guys because they're just some good guys. They really are. There are some nice cars. When we first started down here, they probably had 20 cars. We were up top right in front of the motel, and it's growed and growed. You know, a few years ago, they were going to not have this because they didn't have the funding. And it's blowed up. I mean, this is one of the best Pontiac shows, other than probably Norwalk that I go to, where there's probably 1,200 cars. This is one of the best shows that there is.
Original Parts Group Restoration Tip.
If you're looking around at that freshly restored interior of your car and you notice that the sun visor may be falling down, or maybe the chrome on the support is faded or pitted, well, OPGI has you covered with these beautiful chrome-plated sun visor supports, manufactured exclusively by OPGI. They feature correct mounting hardware, tension screw, and sun visor bushing, and are available for 64 to 77 models in single or pairs, as well as convertible models just like this. You can find these parts and thousands of others at opgi.com.
We'll be right back with more amazing cars on the Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group. The Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group, has been brought to you by National Parts Depot. Make your dream happen. Appalachian Tourism. Virginia is for lovers. Croftgate USA, the only car care product you will ever need. Advertising Edge, the official uniform of the NHRA.
This car is a midline car, Star Chief being the top line, and my car is heavily optioned from whoever ordered it. So, it has the rear window defroster, has underhood real light, has a light up Indian head on the hood. It has a motor lift antenna, they call it, which is power antenna, and of course radio, and under seat heater, which most of them did, and but they didn't put power steering on it, so it makes it a little tough to drive. So my car still is stock engine and transmission, so that's why it leaves spots when I park it. So, but wife and I are enjoying it. Like I said, we've had about 12 years, and it's still a rolling restoration.
Gary Brock inherited the Pontiac gene from his father and has continued his love for them with this 1957 Star Chief.
Well, actually, I went to a tractor show out in Iowa. This happened to be on the side of a road on the way home, so Wednesday it followed me home. Well, the original engine was replaced a long time ago. It now has a engine and transmission from a 67 Bonneville. I started reconstruction in about 2005 after I got it home, and since then I've added a console and 4 bucket seats from the Grand Prix, 64 and 65 Grand Prix. And it's just been a labor of love all these years. Johnny Cash, one piece at a time. I've added, as I said, the Bonneville trim from the 57, the engine and transmission from the Bonneville, and the console and the interior from Grand Prix. So it's one piece at a time. Every day, usually to the post office, about a 3 or 4 mile round trip. Try to keep them lubricated and serviceable. Oh, it's fantastic. Coming down the road about 65 or 70, well, drives real smooth. Yeah, they're made to drive. If I have to sit and look at one, I'll spend $39 for a model and put it on my bookshelf. They're made to drive.
Each week, Croftgate USA Car Care Products picks the best of show from the Lokar Car Show. This week's Best of Show award goes to Jay Capper and his beautiful 1961 Ventura.
Well, it started off as because when I was a child, or younger, I feel like a child back then, 18 years old, I had a Ventura that was yellow, and it was semi-fixed up. And I drove it for about 100,000 miles and finally traded it off. Later in life, I picked up another 61 Pontiac Ventura that was yellow, and tried to fix it up and work on and drive it, which you cannot do, and I had to get rid of it. So in 2008, this was found in a trailer in Norwalk, Ohio, and Mike says, get that thing out of that trailer, back it out, I know somebody wants to buy it. So I bought it in 2008 and brought it back to my area in Sevierville. The engine was redone because it had a 455 high output in it at that time, and I didn't want that. And it went from there on. After it was finished, I drove it to Memphis and over into Mississippi, and my son kept it for 3 years. They did the body work, paint work, and everything. Did a lot of the initial stuff. Then I brought it back to Sevierville after 3 years and had a party in Sevierville, Severe Rod and Custom, take care of the rest of it. We did all the change. I had the interior changed here, did a lot of different things to it. It's just evolved, and it's been quite a work in progress. I didn't get a chance to drive it for like the first 4 years. So finally it's a due process. When you do a lot of work to one, you wind up having little issues that you have to repair before you can go any further. So, but it turned out well. So, this car show is probably one of the better events around because it's well managed. The people are happy and treated well. I think it's a great show and it's a great cause. You can't beat helping St. Jude's every chance you get. So that's kind of, we've done it and really appreciate it. So, and appreciate the people too. So.
Well, that's all from Pigeon Forge, where this year's car show was the biggest it's ever been. We had perfect weather, and there was something here for every Pontiac lover. Next week, we're going to head back out to the West Coast. Join us then for the Brothers Truck Show.